Channel 12 Sports presents coverage of high school gymnastics. Tonight's a Northwest Suburban Conference meet featuring the Osseo Orioles and the Park Center Pirates. From Park Center High School, John Jacobson along with Debbie Rasmussen. And Debbie, we're only about 3 weeks away from section meet competition. So we're looking at these meets late in January where the girls are starting to get their routines together in what they're going to show the judges at sections.
This is a real crucial time for these girls too, because if you're perfecting your routines right now, you don't really want to be adding any new skills. Possibly throw them in, see how they go. But this is where the consistency really pays off. It's the number of routines in the gym. Hit the routines when you're out here on the floor. Work on building those scores so that you're ready to peak at the end of the season here for regions and state.
Osseo, a really young team. Actually, both teams fairly young, but Osseo struggled a little bit with their scores. Their top score this year has been 110, where Park Center's had another good year. They're building on last season when they finished strong. This year they've been over 130. A couple of times with a season end goal of trying to hit 135, and a good season for Coach Bruce Smith and the Pirates as they build toward the Section 5 AA meet.
You know, it's fun to be here with Osseo. We haven't done a meet in quite a while with them, so it's just really fun to see that their program is still thriving and that they're competing against their rival schools. And as far as Park Center goes, it's just been a blast. Bruce is such an amazing coach with these girls, and you can tell over the years they've increased their difficulties. They've gotten a couple gymnasts in here that maybe have come from some private clubs, and it's just fun to watch them be very successful with their program here.
Oh, we'll enjoy this one tonight. It's Osseo against Park Center and high school gymnastics. We'll take a break, and we'll come back with our first rotation in just a moment. You're watching high school sports here on Channel 12.
You watch Channel 12 at home. Why not on the go? Channel 12 is online at 12.tv. Watch on your phone, on your tablet. Channel 12 is your local source wherever you go. Just log on to 12.tv. Check out our videos, subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow us on Twitter, like us on Facebook, and even watch live events via live stream. So don't wait. Stay up to date with Channel 12 and 12.tv, your local source.
So, I'm kind of new here, but I've noticed a trend. My human does this funny thing where she goes around and gets all my toys, and then she hides them in that basket by the door. You know, but it's always the same basket, and it's always in the same place. And then she acts so surprised when I find them, but, you know, she's putting them in the same basket again. It's like, hello, that's where you put it last time. You were the worst at hide and go seek.
Welcome back to Park Center High School. John Jacobson and Debbie Rasmussen are ready to get going with Park Center and Osseo Gymnastics tonight. We'll start our varsity competition with Park Center on the vault. This is Alyssa Lance. She is a 7th grader and an all-arounder for the Pirates. High score this year has been an 8.25.
Alyssa started out with just a little stumble there. She does a half-on, half-off vault. There'll be a deduction for that fall, but she had great body position going into this, and she just a little soft on that landing. It always amazes me, John, when you watch these vaulters and they have to run so close to the wall. That I mean, they're like an arm's length away. That would make me nervous, but every gym is like that, so. See if she gets a little stronger run this time so she's able to. Beautiful. Second vault was great. There wasn't a step on that landing, and she had great body position.
Again, in the vault, each gymnast gets 2 vaults. The highest of the 2 scores is what counts toward the final team score. And of the 5 gymnasts that compete in all of the different competitions, the top 4 are what get counted actually toward the team score.
When we're looking at how the judges are judging vault, first of all, it's the difficulty of the vault, but then there's all other kinds of components in there as well.
This is Emily Lance, is the older sister. She is a junior of Alyssa, who we just saw. Alyssa, by the way, her first vault was 7.4. Her second vault, as Deb predicted, would be higher, almost a half-point higher, 7.85. We saw Emily's first vault there a moment ago, and we'll see how that is scored here. Emily's A junior all-arounder. Her high score in this event is an 8.45 this season. Her first vault here, 7.95.
Both vaults, she had beautiful body position, nice half twist off the vault. The first vault, I think, will score a little bit higher. There wasn't that step on the landing, and here there's just that small step forward, which can add up to a deduction.
Let's look at Bruce Smith now. His 26th season as head coach here at Park Center. He's got 32 girls right now competing on the team. Recently, a couple of years ago, he had over 50. That number down a little bit, but he said it's a nice, comfortable number to work with, and they're still getting good results this year. This is Maddie Clausen now in her first vault. That second vault for Emily Lance, by the way, 8.025, so it was a little bit higher. Maddie Clausen's really had an outstanding season in her first year of high school gymnast coming out of club. Her high score on the vault this year has been a 9.35.
That is about as perfect as you can throw a handspring full, with the exception of that small step on the landing. You have to, her body position is incredible. She is in a full handstand pretty much before she hits the vault. She has a strong block, and the twist is just clean and crisp. You'll see here, all she needs to do is just better to make that final landing without that step, and this vault has the potential to be exceptional. The form, the straight legs, everything. I haven't seen a handspring full like this in a while. It was beautiful.
Her first vault scored a 9.1, and her second vault comes in at a 9.225. Fourth gymnast for Park Center is Haley Illy. Haley, a freshman all-arounder, terrific vaulter.
She's going to show us a vault here called a Yurchenko. You see this in the Olympics with a little bit more difficulty on the backside with twisting. This is a huge vault in college gymnastics, and the fact that she's throwing it here is pretty exciting. It's a fun vault to watch.
She is ranked in the top 10 in the state in the vault.
Nice goal. Coach was excited about that one. She, not only is this so difficult, but she's doing it in a pike position, which makes it even more difficult and adds to the final score. Every vault starts at a certain score, and then deductions are taken from that. And again, she's technically doing a round off onto the springboard, back handspring onto the vaulting platform, and then a back flip off of that, again in the pike position.
Her first vault, a 9.225. One more coming for Haley.
You can just tell how strong she is. That run is so important in a vault like this. Beautiful. She was able to have a little bit more height on that. Shoulders were up a little higher. Did take that step on the landing. She can clean up that landing just a little bit. I think she is all over a state possible championship on that particular event. It's fun to watch.
Kenesha McClellan will be next. Senior co-captain for the Pirates. Haley Illy's second vault, 9.35. Great job. Kenesha's high score in this event this year, 8.55.
Beautiful. What makes this vault so great is her half on. She completes that whole half twist before her hands ever hit the vault. That increases the difficulty, and just a gorgeous landing. You know, I have to say, watching her over the past however many years, she wasn't a gymnast that came with a lot of, outside teaching, and what we've seen her grow and become in the last couple of years has just been fun to watch. It's beautiful vault. Nice, almost a stuck landing on that. She's very happy about that.
Her first vault was an 8.5. We'll wait a moment for score on vault number 2.
When you get to see her coming up on beam eventually, her leaps and jumps are about as high as I've seen in a competition in years.
8.45 for the second vault. And that completes our first rotation. Good start for Park Center on the vault. We will take a timeout. We'll come back. Osseo up on the vault. More high school gymnastics from Park Center coming up in a moment on 12 Sports. Welcome back to Park Center. You saw Rachel Holly completing her first vault for Osseo. She is the first vaulter tonight. We'll take a look at her run up again. Rachel's a 9th grader, 3rd year on the team, goes to Osseo Junior High School.
Rachel doing a half-on vault.
Rachel will be followed for the Orioles by Isabel Nocton, Riley Johnson, Connie Gabor, and Rebecca Anderson. Score will be posted here in a moment. And
looks like the
Rachel
judges
will have
are
her second
having,
vault.
oh, I'm sorry, Don, a little bit of a discussion there. I'm not quite sure as to what. Oh, they're going to give us a score now.
Second vault for Rachel.
She's doing a half-on. Looks like putting a little bit of a spin on that. Not quite sure if that was planned or not. They seem to be chuckling about it, but it was a beautiful vault. Great body position, straight arms, nice straight legs, small little step on that landing.
Her first vault got a 7.55. And her second vault is 7.5 even. This is Isabel Nocton.
Isabel doing a half-on. Nice strong run. Good body position, straight legs, pointed toes. Just a small step on the landing there.
Isabel is an 11th grader at Fridley High School. One thing we didn't mention in the pregame, this is actually the 3rd year of a co-op between Osseo and Fridley. Also Maranatha and Heritage Christian, part of the co-op as well. Maranatha will see one of their gymnasts tonight. So a number of schools coming together.
That's really nice to see that, you know, maybe one school doesn't have enough for a program, and so they combine the schools. I think it's fun for the girls to get to meet girls from other schools, and they become a team regardless of what school they're representing.
There's Isabel's second vault. Her first was scored as 7.3, and we'll await her score for vault 2 as you look at Cammie Hoff, who is in her 8th year as head coach at Osseo. She was a gymnast here at Park Center. Was a gymnast under Bruce Smith, graduated in 1999, and now still coaching. Bruce had a number of former athletes who have become coaches. Isabel Nocton's second vault, by the way, 7.45 as you look at Riley Johnson. Riley in her first vault, one more look at it. She is the captain of this team, an 11th grader at Fridley.
Beautiful handspring vault, great body position, and no step on that landing. Very nice. I just think that where the girls go from here speaks volumes of Bruce. He was such a great coach to them. They're turning around, coaching back in the same, a lot of them are in the same area, and I just think he was such an inspiration and still is to a lot of these girls. Great mentor.
Score of 7.7 for Riley's first vault.
Get another beautiful handspring. She has a nice strong run, great body position, good block, and again, just another stuck landing.
Rachel Ann Anderson is one of the assistant coaches for Osseo Fridley, and Rachel is a state gymnast at Maple Grove not too many years ago. I'm going to say 4 or 5 years ago with the Crimson. Really had a terrific high school career, went on to compete collegiately at Wisconsin Eau Claire, now works at Fridley and helping out with the gymnastics program here for Osseo Fridley. Nice to see her come back to the program. Really had some high-level skills as a prep gymnast in those years we saw her.
Yep, she did. And anytime you get to go on and compete at a collegiate level, that just, it's fun, but it just speaks volumes of the talent that you have.
A moment ago we saw Connie Gabor in her first vault. Connie's a captain, a 12th grader at Fridley.
Connie's doing a handspring and a very strong run. She's a powerful little thing. Throws a half twist at the second vault. Nice job.
Her first vault was a 7.45.
When you add twisting to any trick, you're increasing the value of that, whether it's on the floor, on the vault, on the bars, or on the balance beam.
Rebecca Anderson will be up 5th.
Beautiful handspring half. She flies on the vault. She has such power that her after flight, watch the distance. Big, strong, tiny little hop on that landing there.
Rebecca Anderson is an 8th grader. She is a student at Maranatha Christian Academy, her second year on the team, a varsity all-arounder. Her first vault scored a 7.9.
Another very nice vault for her. Just that little hop on the landing. Otherwise, straight arms, straight legs, everything.
And her second vault scored an 8.0. So pretty consistent for Osseo, all between 7, 5, and 8. No real high scores, but all consistent, all pretty clean on what they're able to do.
And, when you don't have the possible difficulty that, let's say, Park Center has, that's what you're looking for. Be clean, have great landings, be consistent, and build from there.
To your left there, you see Carrie Sandell. She was actually the head coach at Fridley and is still an assistant coach with the program, but a lot of these girls competed for her at Fridley, so they get that continuity in coaching as part of this Osseo Fridley co-op. We'll take a break. We'll come back with more. Osseo will be up on the uneven bars in a moment. You're watching high school gymnastics on Channel 12.
So, I got this new family, and I don't know what it is about this one, but she can't seem to put down that toy all day long. Tap, 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 tap. Oh, and she even talks to it. She talks to that more than she talks to him. What's up, bro? Nice shirt. Who's she talking to? Her mom? She talks to her mom a lot.
There's our score after one complete rotation. Park Center 35.15 to 31.1 for Osseo. We go to Osseo now on the uneven bars. And Olivia Anderson. Olivia is a sophomore. Excuse me, Deb.
She was just starting out with a back pullover, 2 back hip circles, squat on, and a swing half turn. They've changed a little bit of bars where the minimum amount of skills you need to compete in to make a bar routine is 5. Granted, it might not score as high as someone who's got 8 to 20 skills on there. But I think bars is such a difficult event it's hard to just come into gymnastics and do bars. You can walk on the beam. it's scary, but you can do that. But bars take such great coordination and upper body strength, stomach, muscle strength, the whole 9 yards. So now it just allows girls that are just getting into gymnastics, maybe in that 7th, 8th grade level, to be able to throw a routine together. You can have 5 skills, and work from there.
Taryn Van Horn is an Osseo junior high student, first year, of course, with the team, and a gymnast that the coaches believe has great potential to develop as a varsity level gymnast.
When they did away with the junior high programs, you kind of were a little disappointed, but on the other hand, as a coach, to get these girls and be able to have them, for 6 years or so, they're your gymnasts, you train them the way you want, they're comfortable with your program. It's not a bad deal.
Olivia Anderson's score was a 4.7. See Taryn finish up her routine.
It was really a cute little routine, and the flyaway was great. You could tell coaches were very proud. Back pullover, she does back hip circle, does another one. She'll do a squat on, swing right, and then back, and here's the flyaway. Great dismount, good height on them too.
As you mentioned, you have not the difficulty you'll see in some of the other gymnasts. They're very clean with what she did.
Very clean, very clean. And again, bars is an event where it's hard to improve quickly, and it takes so much strength. And so it's harder to learn more difficult skills on bars than in any of the events. You can't have the dance elements like on floor and beam, which you can get the higher difficulty with.
Taryn's score was a 5.6. And now Connie Gabor.
But what they do, like you said, here we go, beautiful form. Ooh, just had a little bit too much swing there. Head into another back hip circle, great straight legs, pointed toes. Does a long hanging pullover there. And a nice high flyaway dismount. A little scary on that one. She hung on just a little longer and almost came back towards that high bar, which, you can sting your toes or something like that. But again, they might have the most difficulty, but what they do very well.
Riley Johnson will be next for Osseo.
It's taking a little bit longer for the score. Here we are, ready for Riley's routine. Nice strong kip right into that back hip circle, into another one. Squat on, long hang pullover. Nice back hip circle, fly away, good dismount. As we watch the 5 girls, usually what happens is, maybe the one who doesn't have the most difficulty but is the most consistent will start it off, and as the girls continue on, the level of difficulty starts to increase, and you can tell here with the kip mounts, the long hang pullover, again, beautiful flyaway. She does a nice job at connecting all the skills without pauses in between. That's what we're gonna want to see on bars. One skill moves right into the next. There's not a pause or a stop. All those are room for little tiny deductions.
Score of 5.2 for Riley Johnson. That followed Connie Gabor's score of 4.5. And now Rebecca Anderson, the 5th and final Osseo gymnast.
Rebecca's starting out with a lot of difficulty in this routine. She did a rear upright. She's done long hang kips. She has a beautiful tuck flyaway dismount. And what made this so great was the fluidity of it. She starts with that kip on the low bar, and from that moment, there's not a pause. Here's the kip, nice cast, back hip circle. She goes right into her squat on. This is a reverse uprise, which is a lot more difficult than you give credit. It doesn't look like it'd be that hard, but it really is. Beautiful long hang pullover, nice flyaway dismount, great landing.
We'll hold on for a moment for Rebecca Anderson's score before we go to break. Rebecca's score on the vault was a team high 8.00 for her second vault. So look at one of the judges tonight. Dawn Thielen was an Osseo gymnast. So we talked earlier about Rachel Ann Anderson, who's come back and as a coach for Osseo Fridley, and head coach Tammy Hoff competed here. Dawn Thielen competed at Osseo.
You know, a lot of gymnasts I have seen have gone into the coaching side of this too. I just think coaching would be difficult.
Rebecca Anderson scored a 7.65. We'll take a break. We'll come back. Park Center will be up on the uneven bars in a moment. You're watching coverage of high school gymnastics on Channel 12.
If you drive buzzed, it could cost you around $10,000. You'll face major legal fees, major fines, and steep insurance penalties. You could lose everything. Buzzed, busted, and broke, because buzz driving is drunk driving.
Park Center is ready to go on the bars. Vicaria Epps will lead it off for the Pirates. She'll be followed by Emily Lance, Kenesha McClellan, Haley Illy, and Maddie Clausen. Vicaria is a sophomore all-rounder. Her high score in this event this year, 6.55.
We're going to see just a little bit more depth in the routines from Park Center, especially as we get into the top three, I believe. But Coach says she's a very strong gymnast, and you can definitely see that in her routine. Just a little bit of an extra swing there. She pulls the long hang kip from almost a dead hang. That is so hard to do. Getting ready here for what appears to be her dismount. And a beautiful tuck flyaway. Very nice. Starting out here at long, or glide kip. Cast into a back hip circle. She does one long hang kip and just doesn't quite have enough momentum for this one, but literally barely a swing, kips up. That's tough. That kip circle on the high bar. And a nice tuck flyaway dismount.
Emily Lance will be next. Emily's high score this year is 7.3. Working on new tricks and connections. And Coach Smith said she's kind of the key to them improving as a team and getting a higher score as a team in the bars.
Well, their top three are strong. We've seen that. And so to get, you know, that fourth, or they take the top four scores just like in the other events. And so that, you know, fourth position is key to increasing that score, which right here, beautiful routine, great form, great swing.
Vicaria F score, by the way, 5.85 is Emily Lance. We'll take a look at her routine again.
You'll see here's just beautiful extension in her legs, toes are pointed, and it just one trick right into the next. And for her long hang kips, cast right into the next one. Immediately into that flyaway layout position. Good landing.
Kenesha McClellan will be up third for the Pirates. Kenesha's top scorer in this event this year, 7.35.
I think it's always hardest to stand there and wait. It's a good thing that they probably don't know the cameras are on them. That would probably make it even more nerve-wracking. But don't worry, you look good out there, Kenesha.
6.50 for Emily Lance. And now here's Kenesha McClellan.
Starting out with the kip. Into a cast. Kip with the change of direction. Beautiful rear uprise into a free hip back hip circle. Nice long hang kips, great cast. Nice layout flyaway dismount. One thing that we need to see on bars is a change of direction, and you can't have that in your mount. So what she's doing here after the mount, she shows the change of direction right there, so she'll get that credit for that requirement. Beautiful swinger on the high bar, this rear uprise into that free back hip circle, fabulous. Cast into two long hang kips, great form. And a nice layout flyaway dismount, just a small step on that landing.
Haley is the fourth gymnast up. Her high score this year, an 8.5. She's had 2 top 5 finishes at invitationals in this event. Got a couple more tricks to still add, and her score will likely move up before the end of the season.
She definitely has the talent. We were able to see her on vault, which was amazing, so you can only imagine. She's just a little spitfire, too. She's very strong.
Kenesha McClellan scores 7.30.
Right away, starting off with a requirement, cast a handstand on the low bar and a change of direction. And she's doing some rear uprise work. Another long hang kip she's going to cast. These are giant swings, beautifully done into a gorgeous layout flyaway. Nice distance on that dismount. You see here, here's her kip cast right up to the handstand and has a pirouette, which again fulfills some requirements. Beautiful swings on these rear uprises. And then cast into a long hang, gets that momentum to cast almost to that handstand. She's doing giant swings here, just a tiny little form break on that, but boy, that dismount couldn't have been done any better. Beautiful. As you can see throughout the girls here, the difficulty is increasing. The scores are going to increase as well. They are hitting a lot of the requirements, cast handstand, the pirouettes, the change of direction that's not involved in a mount or dismount.
Maddie Clausen will be the final gymnast. Her high score this year, 8.8. She placed second at the Matamidi Invitational. Definitely the potential to score in the 9s yet this year.
She has beautiful lines. She threw that handspring full on the vault. That was just outstanding. And so when she does her giant swings too, they're awesome.
Haley scoring an 8.35.
Beautiful cast to handstand. There's another one. I think she's supposed to be doing a pirouette. There we go. Showed that change of direction in that handstand. Here are her giant swings. Great form, beautiful extension, straight arms. Gorgeous layout flyaway. She was about a foot above the bar when she started that.
You talk about that when she got to the high bar, especially the perfect form that she had on the swings and the landing.
I think she was supposed to do a pirouette right there, but talk about a gymnast that's done this routine enough to make it look like it's just part of the routine. But you'll see here, cast almost into that full handstand. Watch the height on this flyaway when she lets go. She's way up there. Nice job. Beautiful. Be fun to see her throw a twist in here to add that, and I'm sure she can, but I haven't seen a layout flyaway that high in a long time. Usually, you know, if they're throwing a double back or something, but that was great.
Bruce Smith talking to Maddie Clausen as this team gets ready to head to the balance beam in a moment. We'll hold on for Maddie Clausen's score on the uneven bars.
You know, before the meet tonight, I said, how are you doing? And he goes, I'm great, but who wouldn't be great? Look where I am. And he just loves his job. He loves these kids. He's so dedicated. We need about 100,000 more of him in the
Right.
West.
Yeah.
He's just a great guy with a great attitude.
Well, we are through 4 rotations, or 2 for each team of the balance beam. Waiting, but they won't start their warm-ups until after the final score is recorded here in the uneven bars. It'll go as an 8.45 for Maddie Clausen, so a 1/10 of a point higher than Haley Illy. So Maddie Clausen taking the bars tonight. Now we'll take time out. We'll come back with more of our meet from Park Center High School after this timeout.
There's a shelter pet who wants to meet you. Meet one today. Visit theshelterpetproject.org. Adopt.
There's our score through 2 rotations. We go to Park Center on the balance beam. Their first competitor is Quinn Kruger. Quinn is a sophomore, all-rounder. High score this year, 7.725. Rough start for her, although it's kind of not the season that she's had. Coach Smith said she's handled the first spot on the beam very well. It's been pretty consistent for them. You want to have somebody in that first spot who has been consistent. She's struggled so far in the early part of this routine, which is tough to see, but it's not indicative of the season that she's had.
It is a really difficult position when you fall on your mount. That makes it tough. Because you've already had that fall, it kind of takes your mental mind out of it. And you can tell she's very disappointed in that routine because she has been so consistent and she has been that lead start spot for these guys. She does a very nice aerial round-off dismount to a great landing. I will tell you, that is a tough deal to fall on that mount. The beautiful thing in the team competition is out of the 5 scores you get to get rid of the lowest one, but what makes it difficult now is the pressure that's on the other 4 girls to have to really perform. You already have one that have a routine that has falls in it. That's why it's so uncharacteristic of her. She's usually a very solid start for these guys.
Emily Lance is next.
But if it's going to happen, mid-season is the best time to have it happen so that you will be ready for postseason.
A score of 4.2 for Quinn Kruger. And now Emily Lance's high score, an 8.4.
Starting off from beautiful no-handed mount right into that wolf jump. Great height on that. This is a full turn. It's still a requirement in high school, college, and the Olympics. Nice pike jumps. When doing those jumps, the judges are going to be looking for the height of the jump and the degree of the pike. The tighter the pike, the higher. These are front walkovers. Very difficult, and boy, she just nailed those. You have to be extremely flexible for those. Adding a 3/4 twisting tuck jump into a nice aerial round off. She picked it up and did a great routine. skills were nice. There wasn't a lot of bobbles. There were height twisting elements and a great landing on that dismount. Here's that 3/4 twisting tuck jump into her area round-off dismount. What amazes me on the jumps and the turns is you really think it isn't that difficult, but this balance beam is 4 feet off the ground and it's only 4 inches in width, which if those out watching look at the width of their foot, take your shoe off, look at your foot, that's how wide the beam is.
Yeah, we talked about, excuse me,
Nope.
to have to interrupt. They talked about Osseo's coaching staff earlier, but I want to mention more than just Coach Smith. There's Becky Rudin, who's her 4th year at Park Center, former Wisconsin state champion on the beam. Graduated from the University of Minnesota, and then one of the other assistants is Bruce's daughter, Amanda, who I remember when she was real small when we used to do gymnastics for Park Center. There she is in the big gym.
In the big gym.
Since then, before they built this facility about 11 years ago, has been with the program, or around the program really since then. Went to Minnesota Duluth and education, now coaching gymnastics and track here, and an early childhood teacher in Anoka. And great help, I know, to Bruce.
I wonder how that was, being coached by your dad or a parent, or, as a parent yourself. Could you coach one of your kids, or would that be difficult? I mean, it's one thing to do it when they're in, 11, 12, 13, but they talk back.
She was at Osseo. She was a student at Osseo.
That's right, so he competed against her.
Now we'll look at Kenesha McClellan.
Just watching her in warm-ups, her jumps are something to be seen. They are awesome. The height on them are amazing.
Score for Emily Lance, 8.35, so just 5 100ths away from her high score in the year. Kenesha's high score in this event has been an 8.2.
And you'll see here, she might not have the tumbling difficulty, but these jumps are so incredible and the connections are so good that she's going to get awarded the score just purely on those. Nice cartwheel, little balance check there. And a round off, that particular has what we call flight, and that means that there's a small second where nothing is touching the balance beam, and that is a requirement also on the beam. 3/4 twisting Welsh jump, beautiful. That is what I love to see, because those jumps are so difficult. The height, adding the 3/4 or the full twisting, she should get a look at this. They're way above her hip level, and that increases the difficulty. Beautiful aerial round off. So where she might not have the tumbling difficulty, she's got the dance difficulty.
You talked about it during her vaulting and how we've watched her through the years improve as a high school gymnast, and now they really come into her own as a senior, and you saw that a big improvement, I think, even last year, and then is at least as good, if not better, this year as a senior.
She's just an athlete, you can tell. She's got a lot of athletic ability, and it's just been fun to watch her. Although she's been jumping this high since I can remember. She probably hasn't added the twisting elements to those, but I wonder if she runs track. I bet you she's like a long jumper or something.
Kenesha McClellan's score being tallied right now by judges Dawn Thielen and Amber Turcott.
Again, the waiting game. Oh, first judges conference of the night, not too shabby. We have judges conferences when there is a discrepancy in the scores that's greater than half a point, basically. And so what they're doing is they're going over, in judging gymnastics, it's actually, every element or trick has a symbol, kind of like shorthand in the old days. And so they're comparing each other's, did you give this a connection or the difficulty or You know, was it a superior or a high superior? Was it a bonus? There's all kinds of, and I think it's hard because her jumps and leaps should all be given full credit. They were great.
In the meantime, this increases the wait time for Maddie Clausen.
Yes.
So
And you know,
Becky
if
Rudin has gone over and kind of loosen her up, get her mind off of the
if
waiting.
there's any event you don't want to wait, it's this one. I mean, this is nerve-wracking enough, let alone, and you can tell that's a good coach. She's going to go over and distract her, and, you know, they're talking about what they had for lunch today, or I always wonder, you know, like when in the baseball team, when they really go out to the mound, what are they really saying? So.
All right, we'll get a score here in a moment for Kenesha. And now Maddie Clausen, 8.3 for Kenesha McClellan.
Very unique mount. Judges also look for originality in these.
Her high score has been an 8.4, but Bruce Smith said, you know, it's a difficult routine and should score in the low 9s by the end of the year.
You can tell it's, you know, working on, like right there, she did a back handspring, back walkover with the slight, it wasn't connected as cleanly as it could. Those are just the little things that maybe she needs to clean, just a couple of balance checks, but I can see where this routine has potential to get a pretty big score. Boy, it was a beautiful switch leap. Unfortunate fall there. Doesn't take a lot before you know it, you're standing on the mat, not standing on the beam. These are nice jumps. Dismount, beautiful back handspring, full twist dismount. She did that in a top position, and isn't a deduction for that, if that's what, you know, she meant, but you could tell she was a little worried. She was a little close to the beam there. I don't think I've ever seen that mount. Way cool. Here she has that back handspring. She's supposed to, back handspring, full twisting, back layout. Nice job. You get worried because you don't realize how close their head is to the end of that balance beam. That was a nice routine.
As you mentioned, some things for her to work and clean up on, but you can see the difficulty factor in that,
there,
which can score higher if they're all hit and executed properly.
It's amazing the little deductions that can add up to, you know, a half a point or a point. It's a 10th for this bobble, 2/10 for this bobble. It was 5/10 for the fall, you know. And so that's where you just want to really clean up the routines as the season goes on and become extremely consistent.
Now Haley Illy takes the beam after a routine of 8.20 for Maddie Clausen.
Without the fall and the few bobbles, because that fall cost her a half a point, she could easily have been in the 9s.
Haley Illy, a state meet competitor a year ago in the beam. Her high score this year, 9.35. She's in the top 10 in the state in this event.
And you can see why with that open air acrobatics series, 2 standing back tucks connected perfectly, not a bobble. There wasn't any wobbles in the landing. Right there, split jump into an immediate 3/4 twist jump. Again, great connections. Again, anytime you're adding twisting elements to a simple split jump, that just increases the difficulty. Setting up here for what appears to be kind of a pretty big dismount. Round off full twist. Beautiful. Wow, that was a good routine. Right here, back flip, right into, there was a tiny little bit. I don't think they'll give her the deduction for not connecting, but I haven't seen anyone do 2 backflips in a row, so I think that was pretty amazing. Here's that dismount. She does that round off into a full twist, and just a tiny balance check on the landing there. Excellent routine. Excellent.
Wait, how good was that? That was very well put together by Haley Illy.
Watching her warm up, I knew she did the 1 backflip. I wasn't expecting 2 in a row. She's very happy with that, you can tell.
We'll hold on for a moment for a score before Osseo comes up on the balance beam. Good routine for Park Center. They get 3 in the 8s, and Haley and probably in the 9s, I'm guessing, is where her score is going to land.
You take the fall and the few little bobbles, and Maddie could have been up in the 9s as well. So this is a great, solid team. And, you know, unfortunate for Quinn, because normally I know the coach says she is such a solid starter on this group. So.
Well, we saw a 9-3 and an 8-9. It looks like we're going to get a 9-2 as a final score for Haley Illy. A 9-1 from one judge and a 9-3 from the other. So very nicely done for Haley Illy. 9.20. That concludes Park Center on the beam. Take a break. Osseo up on the balance beam in a moment. We're back with more gymnastics from Park Center High School after this timeout.
Looking for these? You drive Buzzed. It could be one very expensive ride.
First, you gotta make bail. Then pay me to get your car back.
Your insurance premiums will go through the roof.
And my legal fees just keep adding up. All told, it could end up costing you $10,000.
Buzzed, busted, and broke. Because buzz driving is drunk driving.
With Debbie Rasmussen, I'm John Jacobson. Welcome back to Park Center High School. The Osseo girls up on the varsity beam now. Taryn Van Horn will be followed by Connie Gabor, Abby Walters, Rebecca Anderson, and Riley Johnson. Taryn had Osseo's second high score on the bars. And she leads things off here for the Orioles on the beam.
Starting off with a no-handed mount, just was off a tiny bit, ended up with a little fall. Nice split jump into twisting tuck jump. Full turn, beautiful. Wolf jump into a half twisting tuck jump. Getting ready for a front walkover dismount. That was a good start for them. You know, again, maybe not the difficulty, but very consistent. Shoot. Here's this front walkover dismount to a very nice landing. There's a really good angle of that balance beam, so you can see. It's scary.
Connie Gabor will be up next for the Osseo Orioles.
I love the spelling of her name.
Mm-hmm.
That's very fun and unique.
Connie, as I mentioned, one of the captains for this team, actually a senior at Fridley High School, third year with the Osseo Fridley team. Score of 5.95 for Taryn Van Horn.
Start for her, some good jumps with some twisting. 2 nice split jumps. Getting ready for back tuck dismount. Nice. Now the coach is allowed to stand in there just for safety precautions. There is no deduction unless the coach has to step in and touch the gymnast, possibly to keep them from hitting their head or something like that.
Look at Connie's dismount a moment ago.
Nice job. The coach was able to not provide any assistance to her, and she had a really good landing on that. That's good.
Next up, we'll see Abby Walters. She's another captain. First time we've seen her tonight. She's a junior at Osseo High School, 4th year on the team, also a competitive figure skater.
Oh, wow.
6.15 the score for Connie Gabor as we see Abby Walters.
Starting out with a no-handed mount into a split jump. Just a little bit of a balance check there, not so bad. Cartwheel, hanging on to that, right into another cartwheel. Good job. And 1.5 turn, nice. Beautiful wolf jump. Oh gosh, just off a tiny bit. That was a twisting tuck jump. Trying to hang on to those landings a little bit. You do want to make the connections without that pause. And unfortunately, she was just off a little bit. Punch front dismount. Looks like she might have twisted an ankle just a little bit on one of those.
Little Ginger walking off. Look at Abby's routine again, or part of it.
Here she goes. She does a cartwheel and swings that foot through right into the next cartwheel. Just a tiny bit of a balance check there. Hangs onto it. You see here in that punch front, it looks like she just landed a little low, probably a little bit harder on her ankle. Riley Johnson is the last competitor up for Osseo on the balance beam. And again, the ever-dreaded weight.
Now the judges are going to confer about Abby's score before Rebecca Anderson comes up.
Sorry, I had my names mixed up. This is Rebecca. I thought it was Riley.
Rebecca tonight is 7.65 on the bars and an 8.0 on the vault. She'll have to wait a moment while they work out Abby Walters' score.
You can hear the floor music in the back. We've got the JV team competing on the floor. Actually, what you don't see most of the time is all 4 events are going on at the same time. The varsities are competing against each other in events, and the JVs are competing again. There's a Park Center JV gymnast in the back there.
Abby Walters' score of 5.80. And
oh, that's a
tough start for
tough
Rebecca
start.
Anderson.
You know, you can only laugh, and that's, you know, what her teammates were helping her out there with. You just keep moving, and that's the sign of a good gymnast, and that's exactly what she did. And a smile. Not very often you see girls smile on the balance beam. I love that.
Especially after a fall.
After a fall, yep. Again, like we said, coach is definitely allowed to stand there. If she doesn't touch her, no deduction. Beautiful. Two very beautiful connecting back walkovers. Twisting tuck jump into a side back, or a back flip off the side. That was super.
Able to recover from that fall immediately and puts together a decent routine after that.
You know, that's just a confident person, because it was quite a quirky fall, if we can call it that. But right here, two beautiful back walkovers connected without any wobbles. And you can tell she is smiling upside down. That was good. And here's this. I have not seen this either. Twisting tuck jump into a back flip off the side. Nice job. It's kind of one of those falls, being as quirky as it is, you own it. You just, it is what it is, and she gave us a great routine after that. Very impressive.
Riley Johnson up next. So for this Osseo Fridley team, a team that's not likely to have anyone that's going to get to the state meet this year, she just work on improving and give the girls something to work on and enjoy a couple hours a day after school and come to meets and trying to get better as a team and just make it a good experience for them. And
well, then
don't worry about the outcome so much as you try to make yourself a better gymnast.
And as a team, you know, they probably have a team goal score in mind, and you want to try to reach that when you can. And it's just really nice to see that some of the schools that maybe don't have the programs can go co-op with another school to have the programs. We saw that early on in girls hockey, but I don't think that's with North. Is North Metro still around?
North Metro still around.
Still around.
7.10 for Rebecca Anderson as Riley Johnson midway through her routine.
It's probably harder if you're the lone student that's coming over, but it looks like they have great camaraderie and a good team. Hang on, and again, beautiful. Full twisting, or a three-quarter twisting jump to a back semi off the side.
Riley Johnson able to hang on there at the end, leading up to her dismount.
Just a few little bobble checks, and that was very impressive that she was able to hang on to that without any time you're you know, wobbling on being on the beam that way. It's even harder than walking forward on it. So she was able to throw that back semi. Nice job.
Hold on for a moment for Riley Johnson's score before we take another break. Park Center's junior varsity still competing, just finishing up on the floor exercise. And a score of 7.05 for Riley Johnson. So the Orioles get two scores in the low sevens. Tops their 5 competitors. Ann Suits, who's the head judge, talking with Bruce Smith. As we go to break, we are through 3 routines for each team. Floor exercise coming up next. More high school gymnastics from Park Center after this timeout.
You watch Channel 12 at home. Why not on the go? Channel 12 is online at 12.tv. Watch on your phone, on your tablet. Channel 12 is your local source wherever you go. Just log on to 12.tv. Check out our videos, subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow us on Twitter, like us on Facebook, and even watch live events via live stream. So don't wait. Stay up to date with Channel 12 and 12.tv, your local source.
There's our score through 3 rotations. Park Center close to 100, 99.8. Osseo 80.5 as we head into the 4th and final rotation for each team. We'll see Osseo's varsity up first on the floor exercise. Isabel Nocton will be followed by Karen Yang, Paige Shizeski, Riley Johnson, and Rebecca Anderson. Isabel Nocton, we saw very early tonight on the vault, will start things out for the Orioles.
You know, we talk about the floor exercise and being it's a minute to a minute 30. It's the most endurance demanding event. And it always kills me that it's the last event of the night. The Olympic rotation, vault bars being floor. But you kind of think, wouldn't it be nice to start on floor when you're fresh and you have all this energy? Beautiful back layout into a nice back roll. This is where the gymnast gets to show their personality. They get to pick their music. They have a lot of say in the choreography of that routine, which is fun. Just gonna go for a second tumbling pass. There's 3. Nice punch front, forward roll, cartwheel. Press handstand into her forward roll. She heads to the corner for her 3rd and final tumbling pass. Then round up back layout into a back roll. Nice start for the Osseo team. In the 3 tumbling passes you have to do, 2 of them can be backwards, but 1 of them has to be forwards. And you'll see here she does a round off, layout into a back roll. And you can repeat the same pass. You just can't do it more than twice. So here's her forward, which is a beautiful punch front forward roll right into a cartwheel. Great connections. And then that 3rd pass again, she does another round off layout into a back roll. Great body position on that. Just like on every event, there is requirements. One thing that when I was talking earlier to one of the coaches that they've gotten away with is we always talk about that dance acrobatic series. You don't have to do that anymore, but you have more requirements for acro connections.
Score of 7.20 for Isabel Nocton. And now our first look at Karen Yang. She is a junior, Osseo senior high student, first year on the team. A little fun fact about Karen, also a competitive, traditional Southeastern Asian dancer.
Boy.
So you should see some good dance elements in this routine.
Absolutely. Beautiful show of flexibility there in that splits. Tell from the music. There's a very nice aerial front walkover, cartwheel back handspring. One and a half turn. As on the balance beam, you have to have a full turn, double turn on the floor. Gets ready for that 3rd tumbling pass. Round off back handspring. Probably was supposed to be a tuck back, just a little. She had to put her hands down. Nice. She had really pretty hands. You can see the influence of her dance coming through there. She goes for a round of back handspring into a back tuck. Great height on that. This is her forward tumbling, which is an aerial front walkover, round up back handspring. And then finally, she was going to end with a back foot, but she just didn't get quite enough height on that to make that all the way around. It was very pretty to watch. Waiting for the judges.
Next up is Paige Sizeski.
I wonder if floor is like the hardest event to judge, or is it vault that goes so fast? I'm going to have to ask that question.
Karen Yang scored at a 6.85. Paige Sizeski, 9th grader. And Osseo, 2nd year on the team.
Beautiful round of back handspring layout, great form.
Coaches really like her dance ability and how graceful she is as a dancer, which makes it a natural for this event.
Yes, you can tell she works leaps, jumps. There's a double turn there. She has great form and great extension. Aerial front walkover, round up back handspring. Beautiful show of flexibility. And I'm assuming, John, you can do that?
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely. Wow, that was cool. You can tell she is a dancer. Beautiful split, leaps, jumps, her final tumbling pass. Round up back handspring layout. Nice job. That was pretty fun to watch.
So as a former coach, is it, for floor exercise specifically, is it easier to coach someone who maybe isn't a great dancer, or someone who's got the dance thing elements but maybe doesn't have all the skills necessarily in gymnastics?
I think it's easier to coach a good dancer because of the way the judging is set up now. You can get those difficult connections, medium superiors, high superiors with your dance. They might not have the tumble difficulty, but they have beautiful dance. But on the flip side, if you get someone who's a strong tumbler, you just pick a form of music that isn't a graceful. You're gonna, Mary Lou Retton, perfect example. Not the most graceful gymnast, but man, was she a powerhouse to watch.
We'll wait on the score for Paige.
You kind of, in this sport, you look for the gymnast strengths and you build from that.
7.50 for Paige Sizeski. 4th Osseo gymnast is Riley Johnson. Fourth event of the night for Riley.
Got 2 back handsprings into some full twisting jumps. It's fun to listen to the gymnast music. It kind of gives you a little insight into their personality. Are they serious? Are they fun? Do they have a more funky side? That kind of thing. And with technology today, you can find a great piece of music, take the lyrics out, and have a good floor X.
Right.
Unlike in my day when we were using records.
Maybe vinyl will make a comeback. It is among collectors. Maybe it will at gymnastics.
Yes. They'll have a little DJ on the side. The thing I like about her is her form. It's so important that every time the foot or toe is off the balance beam, that it needs to be pointed. And she's shown that on all 4 events tonight. She has great form.
Good finish to the night for Riley Johnson. We'll take a look at part of her routine as we await her score.
Here's your first pass, round up 2 back handsprings. She had great speed, she had great form. Second one, which is your forward punch front. Right into cartwheel back handspring, nice job. Her last one. Round up 2 back handsprings.
Rebecca Anderson will close the meet in a moment for Osseo. Score of 7.2 for Riley Johnson. And here's Rebecca Anderson.
Again, another beautiful dancer. The switch leap was hard to tell because of the angle the camera was, but it was very nice. First tumbling pass, round up back handspring layout with the half twist. Double twisting full turn adds to the difficulty of that, which is a requirement, either single, double. Excellent. That was a front handspring layout punch front. Two full twisting connected cat leaps. Gets into the corner for a final tumbling pass. Round off 2 back handsprings into a nice back tuck. Very nice routine.
Rebecca Anderson, good finish for her and for Osseo tonight.
Here's that first pass. She does a layout at the end here, and she throws in a half twist. Nice landing. And then this one is a front handspring laid out punch front. Beautiful. And then finally, she does round off 2 back handsprings into a tuck. There it is.
They had some falls, some struggles at times in the beam, but they recover nicely here on the floor, I thought.
Very much. The floor is a little bit more forgiving than probably all of the events, because sometimes if you have a little stumble, you throw it into a shoulder roll. No one really knows if that was part of it or not. And it's just fun to see the girls have fun out there too.
Judges are going to confer on Rebecca Anderson's score here before Park Center comes up. A 7-8 and a 7-9 have been posted. I believe we're going to have a 7-8-5 score, but we'll hold on just a moment just to make sure that that's right. That would be the high for Osseo.
Again, when we talk about floor being the last event of the night, when you show up to regions, sections, or state, you don't know what event you're going to get. So you want to be the team that goes vault bars beam floor, but on the flip side, some of the teams want to start on the balance beam, get the most nerve-wracking, the most event that possibly could be less successful. Get that out of the way. If a team that goes up and throws an amazing 5 for 5 on balance beam, they're going to come out 99% of the time on top, just because that's the toughest event to get those scores without the falls in.
It is a 7.85 for Rebecca Anderson, so we'll take a timeout. We'll come back. Park Center. We'll finish up our meet on the floor exercise in a moment. Stay with us. Back at Park Center, the Pirates will be up to complete tonight's meet on the floor exercise. Michaela Meyer, Emily Lance, Kenesha McClellan, Maddie Clausen, and Haley Illy. That's a rotation. It's our first look at Michaela Myers tonight. She is a junior. High score in this event at 8.45. Her 5th year competing in gymnastics for Park Center. Has worked some JV tonight in all 3 of the other events, the vault, bars, and beam, but on the floor, gets to lead things off for the varsity.
Again, an important spot for any team to be that leadoff hitter as we head into the last and final event. Beautiful jumps. Wow, 1.5 twisting tuck jump. Might have been a double. I think I might have missed that. She gets ready for her second pass. Round off back flip, back roll. Again, we're seeing here what she has, maybe not in, she doesn't have the tumbling difficulty, but she does have the dance difficulty, the dance connections. There's her front tumbling pass, punch front, cartwheel, forward roll. Nice start for them.
Michaela Meyer again.
First tumbling pass, she did a punch front, forward roll into cartwheel. Here's those twisting jumps. The second pass, it's a round off back flip into a back roll. And her final pass, another nice punch front into cartwheel. So this is a great example of a gymnast that doesn't have the difficulty in tumbling, but has amazing difficulty in her dance.
Next up will be Emily Lance. Score of 7.9 for Kayla Myers. Emily's top score this year, an 8.725.
Setting up her first tumbling pass. Round up back handspring, full twist. Nice job, great height, good form. Twisting split jump. Slows it down a tiny bit as she's in the corner there, catches her breath. Here's her second tumbling pass. Punch front walk out, round up back handspring into a back flip. Beautifully done. Again, takes a moment to catch her breath here. She's got some music with pretty speedy beat going on here. Twisting jump sequence there. For her final tumbling pass. Round up two back handsprings into a layout. Beautiful form on that. Nice job. The music is either from a Western or a Heinz ketchup commercial.
One of the two.
One of the two. What's for dinner? Either way, it was good. Here's that first pass she does. Round up back handspring, full twist. And second one here, she does a punch front. She walks out and walks right into that round up back handspring. Back tuck. And her final one, round off two back handsprings into a beautiful back layout. Great extension, great form, nice end. What is that commercial? Anybody?
Well, I don't think it was actually the Heinz commercial, the music, but I think you might have been right.
What that's, I know it has to do with
beef, it's what's for dinner.
It has to do with something.
Some food.
I'm really hungry.
We'll confer on the score for Emily Lance before Kenesha McClellan will hit the floor. Kenesha this year, score of 8.275, and Coach Smith said has strong jumps, really a fun routine, but in order to score big, it's got to be able to clean it up, connect some of those moves a little bit. Could score in the high 8 to 9.
I think sometimes you can almost get too high, and if you can't make those connections on your jumps and leaps, you know, that's really important too. But I'm just excited to watch because I saw what she did on the balance beam. I can only imagine what you put that together with the spring floor. Here's a good view of what it looks like when a judge is judging. All those little squibbles and marks actually mean something. I'm not sure what, but they do. I'm just kidding.
And the judges have conferred. They come up with a score of 8.5 for Emily Lance. And now Kenesha McClellan.
Beautiful handstand double pirouette there again. She takes a handstand, she adds a double pirouette to it, increases the difficulty. What a great smile. Round up 2 back handsprings into a back pike. Nice job. Beautiful. Second tumbling pass. Punch front, punch front. Nice job. Amazing how high those jumps are. Full twisting straddle, full twisting wolf jump. Nice connection. Third and final tumbling pass. Punch front, forward roll. Nice cartwheel. Nice routine. She had some great connections. Her first tumbling pass, she barely runs at all, and she has a beautiful round off. Back handspring into pike. This one is great. It's just boom, punch front, punch front. Nice job. And the last one is a punch front forward roll right into cartwheel. There's a 1.5 twisting jump there. I think if she can just increase the difficulty in that last pass, she could easily be high 8s, maybe even low 9s, just because of the dance difficulty that's there. But she's going to have to beef up that last tumbling pass just a bit.
Maddie Clausen will be next. Her high score this year, 9.15. .85 the score for Kenesha McClellan, same as Emily Lance. And now Maddie Clausen finished second at the Matamidi Invitational, 5th at the Champlain Luau on the floor.
She's going to open up here with a 1.5. Nice. That is a completely blind landing, and she had so much height on that, she could have actually turned that into a double. Beautiful handspring layout front with a full twist. Slowing the music down just a little bit, showed a little bit of flexibility with that front walkover. Great original dance here. Full twisting tuck jump into a pike jump, setting up for final tumbling pass. Punch front round up back handspring, full twist. That is a difficult pass to end that routine with. Nice solid routine for her. She showed a lot of difficulty in her tumbling passes and in her dance elements. Here's that first one. It's a 1.5 twist, so she's landing completely blind, and there was so much height on that. And this one too, front handspring into a layout punch front. A layout front is hard enough, let alone throw the full twist in there. And punch front round up back handspring into a full. Nice landing.
Haley Illy will be up last for Park Center. She'll open with a double twist. She's got new music, Coach Smith says, a new routine, and looks great. Could score, he believes, in the mid-9s by the end of this year. Right now, our high score for the season, 9.15. 3 top 5 finishes and invites.
You'll see she has that little crash pad. They call it a stinger pad, and there is no deduction for having that. It's just sometimes it saves on the gymnast ankles. I'm not sure what trick she's going to throw into that, but it's not a deduction to have that out there. She opens up here with her double. It was beautiful during warm-up, so I hope she can nail it here. Takes that to a 1.5. Maybe doubles coming later. Handstand pirouette. Here's that middle pass. Wow, that was beautiful. A full twisting out front. Final tumbling pass. Gorgeous punch front on it, back handspring, full twist. Favorite move there, Shishanova. It looks like it hurt, but it really doesn't. Very nice routine for her. You can tell she's very pleased with that. Lots of difficulty. Here's that first pass. She opens up with a 1.5. Again, this is a blind landing, so you got to make sure that you're up there high enough to land that. And her second one is a laid out full twist like a punch front. That's very difficult. And then finally, punch front, round up back handspring, beautiful full twist. Great landing. In the slow motion, oh, that move I just love. It became popular way, way, way long time ago. We'll take a look at it here. It's named after Elena Shishanova, an old Russian gymnast, but it looks like it would really hurt, and it truly doesn't.
We're going to take our final break of the night. We'll come back and give you the individual scores for both Maddie Costin and Haley Illy on the floor, and then our final team scores. We wrap up our competition tonight. Park Center Osseo Gymnastics. We'll wrap it up from Park Center after this.
Michael Adams?
Here.
Michael Adams?
Here.
Michael Adams.
Michael Adams.
Students who miss 18 days of school in any grade risk falling behind and not graduating. Absences add up. Keep track at boostattendance.org today.
There was the final varsity score for tonight's meet. Park Center 134.725 to 109.9 for Osseo. And for Park Center, a season high for them by more than 4 points. John Jacobson, Debbie Rasmussen back here at Park Center High School. So a great night for the Pirates as they build towards section competition. You know, Coach Bruce Smith, Ron Tracy and his staff want to get to about hoping for that section meet for 135. So they're very close tonight. They've got about 3 weeks until that meet comes up, or exactly 3 weeks actually from tonight over at Irondale High School.
Well, and I got to tell you, 4 points in gymnastics is a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, when you're talking about a 10th deduction here, a half a point here to increase your score by 4 points, they had an excellent meet tonight.
Maddie Clausen, by the way, finished with an 8.95 on her floor routine, and Haley Illy a 9.1. Haley Illy, the all-round champion for tonight, with a total score of 36.0. But you know, the way they performed on the beam was very, very strong. They were very happy with their score there. Finished strong on the floor exercise. And Park Center's had some girls, you know, Maddie Clausen and Haley Illy have been ill and missed some competition time. If everybody's healthy and they're hitting their routines, it says the team has a chance to send a couple of those girls on to state competition. I don't know, team-wise, they're not quite with Champlain Park.
Correct.
But they're getting closer. They're closing the gap.
They are closing the gap, and it's just been really fun to watch and to see the success that Bruce has been able to have with these girls in the last couple of years. And the few that probably will move on to state, very exciting. You know, 2 of them are ranked amongst the state in probably the top 10, and that just can open the door. If they have a solid meet, they can be right up there.
And Osseo within a little less than a point and a half of their top score, 109.9 tonight. Still some work to do for them, but again, kind of a building program as they incorporate some veteran varsity girls with some newcomers to the sport and try to build the team, build those scores up.
It's just fun to watch, like we talk about this co-op team where the girls are coming together from different schools and they create a really fun team, good camaraderie, and they are a team that in the future is going to improve. They're going to increase some of their difficulty. Some of these girls are going to get stronger as young gymnasts. They can only go up from here.
Well, that'll do it for our competition tonight here from Park Center High School. 2 more high school gymnastics meets coming your way this season on Channel 12. Friday night we'll be at Wayzata for Wayzata and Minnetonka. And then in a couple of weeks, another Northwest Suburban Conference meet. We'll get to see Champlain Park as they take on Maple Grove. That does it for our competition tonight. Hope you've enjoyed it. For Debbie Rasmussen and all of our crew, I'm John Jacobson. Strong night for the Park Center Pirates tonight. The home team wins, and they move on for more conference competition and the section meet coming up February 12th, 2015. Good night from Park Center.